Hello everyone, Krydex here, and welcome back to pYanodon's Season Trace. We are doing stuff with things and getting things done. Now, do I remember what any of those things are? No. We did hot molten salt, and this was before the weekend, and I have not touched it since then. There have been a couple updates to things, so I want to go over that real quick. So thing number one is Factorio received an update that apparently has messed with rotation of buildings. I don't know. I think it's mostly the py tanks. Yeah, even though it's rotationally symmetric, it says it can't be rotated. So that's something that will need to be updated in py. Thankfully, I don't think I have any blueprints with tanks right now, so it's not really a big deal. But it will be, because, I mean, we're going to be copying, well, not this blueprint. This blueprint's only going to be in a couple places because this is the provider of fluid fuels. But this blueprint, where is it? Will be in a lot of places. And this one can't be rotated right now, which is dumb. So hopefully that gets fixed soon-ish. Now, somebody pointed out an issue with this build, and there's two issues. One is that as soon as it gets enabled, if I have two trains providing fluid fuel, they will both come. So I should knock that train limit down to one, because I mean, realistically, we're never going to need multiples coming at the same time anyway, unless we're using an absurd amount of fluid fuel, which I just don't think we will. And thing number two is that with the way I did these numbers, I think I screwed it up a little bit, because we're saying less than 9K. But what the person was mentioning is that if we had 2 gasoline deliveries in a row, it's because this is constantly pumping in. If we have multiple gasoline deliveries in a row, this could end up being at like 8,000 gasoline, which doesn't leave room for the 25,000 gasoline that might come in on the train. So I really should trigger this at 2,000 or even 1,800 to be safe. So then there's always room in this tank for whatever we pump out of the train. So yeah, those changes I think should prevent that from getting locked up anywhere. And that is thing number one. Thing number two is the spoilage scanner. So the spoilage scanner we talked about in the last episode, and I lamented a bit, and Qvist, Dave Kvist, over the weekend, did a little bit of work on the mod himself, updating it so that it now doesn't take quite as much UPS juice. It still takes quite a bit, but it distributes it more evenly now. And so having a bunch of them is not going to add up to as much. Now, I still can't have like hundreds of them, so I don't know if we'll be able to use them for every single build that has spoilable things, but we definitely can use a few now without worrying about it in places, particularly I think for situations with animal parts. I think I'm going to use them. The other situations I've had feel a bit more manageable. But yeah, anyway, so I have a grand plan now, and I shared it on Discord. So if you're around on the Discord, the Crydania Discord, you already know about it. But, well, if you read that post, that is. But basically, my grand plan for animals is I'm actually going to bring them all to the same place. I'm going to have one central block for animal processing, and I'm basically going to have a desired amount of each part, such as meat, you know, brains, skin, lard, etc., chitin, and the buildings are going to run based on that animal's like output ratios and how easy it is to get that animal. So I'm gonna try in Hellmod to kind of compare like how expensive is it to make augs versus, you know, cotton guts. I don't know if you remember, but we were doing that when I was looking at logistics science. I was like, okay, if I were to make all of what I need with fish versus cotton guts versus augs, how many would it be? In cotton guts, we needed like 2.5 times as many. And so then I wanted to compare like what is it making 2.5 cotton guts per second versus 1 alg per second? Because that's kind of the comparable amount of parts. So anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the ratios mixed with that, so like we'll kind of end up with a number for each animal. And algs are probably gonna end up being the best for meat. So what we'll do is we'll have a signal from, let me grab a constant combinator so I can explain the grand plan. So we'll have, I did not mean to make a salt mine, of all things. Hey, it just did that thing again. It's because of Q to front. Q to front has some sort of weird glitch. When you're in a search field, it like cancels out the search field. Anyway, so what we'll do is we'll have, you know, meat and guts and all of these things. So we're gonna have like a limit. Maybe it's gonna be 2,000 in the warehouse. So there will be the warehouse, and then we'll have a decider combinator, and we'll do, or sorry, arithmetic. So we'll have an arithmetic combinator, and we're basically gonna do like meat, you know, minus 2,000. Might be an easier, there's probably gonna be an easier way to do this, but basically meat minus 2,000 is gonna give me how much meat I'm lacking. Yeah. But I'll probably just do divided by. And then we'll do the amount we want divided by 100. So this will be a signal that goes from, assuming we want 2,000 meat in the warehouse, and then this would be a signal from 0 to 99. Technically it would get to 100 when we're at the very max. And that's kind of telling us how much meat we have, right? Out of what we want. So then what we would do, and I could do potentially all my, well, the problem is I want a different amount of each thing. So at least I may need a few different combinators. But yeah, so there we go. So that gives us our meat signal. So if we had 100 meat, let's just simulate having 150 meat here. So then you can see that that gives us a signal of 7. So that's saying we have 7% of what we want. So then what we would do is we would have our slaughterhouses, and I'm gonna craft one real quick because I wanna find out something together with y'all. We need more stone bricks. There's a thing I don't know about slaughterhouses, which is if we can set the recipe with a circuit signal or not. Oh, is it just reproductive complexes? So slaughterhouses used to not use the normal recipe interface. Okay, sweet. Well, that fixes my problem then. I thought it was still, and it's hard to show because I don't think I can do it with like a copy paste. I feel like I've gone mad. Have I gone mad? These buildings used to do something different. Maybe repo complexes still do, but they just don't do it that way when you paste them. Yeah, because if I paste this, it should have more options. Shouldn't it? No, these are all the options of what I've made. Now I'm just confused. Did they just do away with all of that? You guys probably know what I'm talking about, but maybe not, because it might not even exist anymore, apparently. Oh, yes! So, Putinator also updated Quick Ride, so now we can just hop on train tracks. Easy peasy. And then we can... Oh, I can't drive on the wrong side of the tracks, but yeah, so that's great. Anyway, let me find out real quick about this repro complex thing. I swear, maybe it wasn't repro complexes. It definitely used to be. If it's not anymore, then that's great. It might have actually been because of Space Age that they did this. Wow, they did just fix it. Wow, okay. I wonder when that was. 'Cause I feel like it wasn't in this playthrough, but maybe it was? I don't know. I'm kind of weirded out now. I swear this wasn't a thing, but maybe it was the whole time. I don't know, I'm confused now. Anyway, the important part is that we can change the slaughterhouse recipe with circuits. And so what we'll do is we'll have a central bank of slaughterhouses that all have access to... I'll probably do some fancy belting with different animals on each side of the belt. I mean, we're only gonna have so many animal types. And then we'll select... I don't know. Maybe I still won't do that. I don't know. I'm in and out on whether we'll have separate slaughterhouses for each animal type or we'll use a central bank for... And then we'll just select via... God, I can't do words today. I haven't had enough coffee yet. We'll select via circuit signal. Because if we do select via circuit signal, it will kick out some more animals that we'll then have to deal with. And the problem with that is then you get two sets of filterable items. Like there's going to be a lot of different products. There's going to be bones, meat, skin, lard, guts, brain, chitin, and maybe more. And then blood, fish oil, formic acid, at least for now, on the fluids. And then so the problem is you can't do a blacklist filter because there's too many things to blacklist if you're wanting to get the animals out. You would need a blacklist like 7 things. And you can't whitelist filter because you don't have enough whitelist options either. There's only 2 options for a regular inserter. So what we'll need to do is we'll just put all the output into a central warehouse, and then in that warehouse we will sort out the different types, and then all of the animals will have their own, you know, filter inserters kind of going back to the supply, and we'll input priority on that. So that'll recycle the animals. So a single bank of slaughterhouses probably will work, because we can do it that way. Yeah, and we'll just select the animal that we want to slaughter based on the signals. And if there's multiple animal types that need to be slaughtered, then it can just do one at a time. That should be fine, because it'll catch up. So, I mean, yeah, all this I think is going to work pretty nicely. And then where does the spoilage scanner come in? Well, glad you asked. So that's going to be reading the items in not the sorting warehouse. The sorting warehouse is empty at all times. It just sorts things. It'll probably be a long chest so we can attach a lot of inserters to it. But the main warehouse will then, you know, things will come out of the sorting chest and go into the main warehouse. Now, also, we'll have a different warehouse for non-spoilables like chitin, skin, and bones, because those aren't even spoiling. So why share the warehouse? Anyway, this will be reading the spoilage status on this warehouse, and on this warehouse we will pull stuff out when it gets below a certain amount. And so we'll have, you know, the set filter option. I guess we'll need a decider combinator in between these. So what we'll do, Of course, I don't have any spoilable things in my inventory, so it's hard to show an example, but I think you guys saw it in the last episode. This will read, so if the least fresh, it'll start outputting the least fresh type, and so we'll say if anything, if anything is less than, and we can figure out the percent we want to do, but let's say 20%, then it can output anything, and then that inserter can be filter set based on the most spoiled thing being under 20%, and then it will also have decayed first as its priority, so it will always take that. Now we do want to stop. What we'll want to do is we'll want to stop the input here if anything is greater than 0. Wait, it's false when there are no inputs. So we want to say if everything is greater than 0. So basically, if we are getting a signal, we're going to stop inputting things for a moment until we get that stack out. Because the reason is, if we're putting in fresh stuff while we're taking out spoiled stuff, then it starts mixing. Because of the way spoilage works, if, you know, we'll go down to 99, the inserter takes out an item, now there's 99 mostly decayed things, one fresh one will now join it, bloop, and now the average has been brought up. And it'll keep doing that averaging thing. And we don't really want that. We just want to take the whole decayed stack out, so then when a new stack comes in, it'll be totally fresh. Because we don't want things to be averaging like that. So, I mean, we could, but then we have these weird waves where like a bunch come out at once, because we end up averaging, basically, when you do that, the whole chest ends up getting averaged out in kind of a weird way. I could do the math. It would be a little bit of a divergence. It would be a long math episode, which I'm not going to do. On like, if you were doing it that way, things would still eventually equalize. Okay, I guess Cradax is doing it. Because if you have 2,000 items in the chest, then there's so many freshness seconds that you're losing per second, right? You're losing 2,000 seconds per second. Freshness seconds. We'll call them FSs. You're losing 2,000 FS per second, equally distributed over all the items in the chest. So there's some sort of equilibrium where if you're removing items, it's based on the how many hours, you know, it takes, but let's say they took 20 hours to spoil, but you're removing them at 50%, then that's kind of, they only take 10 hours to get to the point where they get removed. So then you're removing, I don't even know. I'm gonna stop the math there. You guys can carry that thought on if you're interested, because we're not gonna need it. But all that to say, this will help us kind of have a more stair step of freshness rather than just an equal homogeneous blend of freshness. This part is what prevents that, because as long as we're taking things out, we won't be putting things in. And then I'll probably have, you know, multiple inserters set up so that it goes a little faster. But yeah, that's the idea. And then this will just be the one that's connected to trains. So trains can actually come pick up stuff, but we know when trains come to pick up stuff, they'll be picking up relatively fresh stuff, right? And that's what's really handy, is that we know that there's a certain level of freshness. And you know what I can even do is I can just output, well, how does this work? I've never actually done, can you do lard, meat, guts? Can you do them each at different, because they have different decay times, so I'm gonna want different amounts. So like lard, I might take out if it's less than 50%, but meat would be 25%, and guts would be, you know, 13%. Can I output? So let's now say this constant combinator is the spoiler scanner. So if meat is 30, then that's annoying. So apparently lard being less than 50 is true if there's no lard signal. Null is equal to 0 in this case. I really wish... Look, we have a lot of functionality, so I'm not going to complain, but it would be so nice if I could also say, like, null is not 0 for this, because it's like, no, I don't want it to count null as 0. I know that there's a solution to this. It's just kind of an annoying solution, because we're going to have to add an AND condition to each of these. Because it'll have to be meat greater than 0 and lard greater than 0 and guts greater than 0 and now it should work. So then if I do a meat signal of 24, boom, now it's outputting the meat signal. Uh-oh. Why is that not stopped? I actually don't know. Everything greater than 0. Oh. Whoops. We want to disable it. Why am I so confused? It is true. Okay, so we want it to work when everything is 0. Yeah. Okay. When everything is 0, it's working, but then as long... Okay, yeah, sorry, I just had that backwards. And now when we turn this off, those are running again, there's filter. Perfect. Okay, that's the system. Hope you guys enjoyed that planning of how that whole system will work. And now let's actually do some useful things. Like such as, I don't know what. Go away. Alright, improve copper production. Were we really gonna do that next? I don't know. We also have to deal with ash. We also have to deal with coal. Did I fix? I think we fixed everything we needed to fix. HCl's stopped up on hydroxide. Of course it is. The good news is I can get rid of hydroxide pretty easily, but I forgot to... Oh, right. That's because we're using it for making niobium anyway. It comes back in the... What part of the stage? The activated carbon needs it? Yeah. So that's why I just let that sit there. So for now, we won't need to deal with that next, but when we start using HCl for other things, we will. All right, let's restock all our junks. And... Inserter... Loader... Chest... Engine? Engines are good. ACI, small parts. Alright, and then we probably need iron and steel or something. Alright, things are looking pretty good. Duralumin. Okay, sweet. Now, let's go handle this ash overflow. It's ridiculous. Do I want to just do ash separation now? Am I finally done? How fast can these handle it? 10 a second each, so I need quite a few, but I think we're just gonna start sepping the ash. And then yeah. Alright, let me stop these guys for a minute. Are we using all the coke? What's going on here? Not really. So how am I running all of those constantly? Wait, aren't we getting rid of anthracene oil if we have too much of it? I think we are. Yeah, I'm turning excess anthracene into creosote. Right, so the whole system is just running constantly to provide the other things. That was because we were backing up on coke, I remember. I'm still happy with that choice. It just means that we're just gonna keep getting a lot of ash. Alright, let's do, of course, belts can't go over. Just trying to get these out of the way as much as possible. Bring these down. Alright, now what do we do here? I think I want to rebuild these a little bit because they're now in the way. Are my bots? How did my bots get turned off? Did I do that on purpose? I don't remember doing that. I do forget a lot of things, but I don't remember doing that. Maybe I did at the end of the last episode or something. Alright, so that frees up a little bit of space there. And now we can just do loaders in. So we need a loader in. And then we need to mix that. Let's see. Let's get some power here. Loader in out of 30, that'll still be 20. So, unfortunately, I can't. So that still needs to be a separate belt. But then the next one will bring us down to 10 on 2 belts. So this one can go in here. There we go. So 10. So then there'll be 10 left on this. At most, and then that'll be 30, and then this one is 15, And so that one will go just equivalent or equally divided between these two. Okay. So there is that. Now the total output is 3.5, 3.75 only. That's wonderful. 2 mech inserters each is enough. Total coal dust is 2.5 a second, which feels kind of bad to waste given I just was talking about it, but imagine carrying it all the way over there. I guess I could use a caravan. Yep, let's use a caravan. Need another one, and then the other stuff, I need something bigger than a shed. Maybe a warehouse for the soot and the oxide. I can also separate the soot. Did I break a... No. Come on, guys. So slow. Alright. Solid separate soot. 2x goes to a bunch of stuff that stacks to 50, but it's a small percentage. So 2 goes to 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. So that's about triple. This actually isn't as good as it looks, because soot stacks to 100. And the ores only stack to 50. Now, the real trick is if you smelt those, and I think, no, zinc can't be straight smelted, can it? No, I can. Zinc ore to zinc plate. So I think all of those can be... Oops, what am I doing? I think all of these can be straight smelted. Lead can be... So what we could do for maximum densification, and we have oxide, which also can be densified. Oxide is 2 to 1 into plates, so that's even denser. So what we'll do is we'll have a single stone furnace. No, I guess we'll need more than that. Yeah, this is kind of annoying. We've got enough room up here for it, though. We'll manage. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll put the coal dust. Don't worry, we'll get there. Okay, so it goes here, and that overall rate is only 1, so one of these is enough. So soot goes in. And then everything else, we're just gonna deal with it up here. So everything else is here. And somehow we didn't get power connected. There we go. Okay. So then we need everything in here except ash. Ash is annoying. We're gonna have ash specifically. We've got 1.15 ash a second, so very slow amount. Ash will get sent back to here. And we'll output priority left on that, so there should always be room on this one. Always. It's impossible for there not to be, because this is only 15 a second, and these can handle 20. So there's always room on that one. Yeah, always. I was thinking if the belt-sidedness matters, but it's like, no, because even if this has stuff on both sides, this one's eventually going to get backed up. But then if it was only on the right side, basically what I'm saying is there's no way the right side of this belt could still have a full belt through. Because even if somehow the left side was consuming the 7.5, the right side would still consume 2.5 a second. So there'd be gaps on the right side, even if somehow this wasn't using a balanced amount on the left and right. Anyway, that's all a digression. We should be able to get the rest to 4.6.7. So we'll blacklist on Ash 2 inserters just to make sure. And then that will go on the same belt as the iron oxide. So these are all the things to be smelted. He who smelted, delted. And then now we've got coal dust on the left, and now we need a little smorgasbord of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 furnaces. We could use one, but then we'd have to do all sorts of weird combinator magic to make sure they don't get stopped up with the wrong thing. I guess we could sorry, my brain just broke. Let me sip some coffee here. So good. Give me the brain juice. Okay, what I was thinking is we could just put it all in a chest, and then we could just have one inserter from that chest to a furnace. And I mean, it's gonna get a little backed up on one thing, but eventually enough of the other types of ores should come in to make enough to smelt, and then it smelts, and then it starts putting a different thing in there. Because then there's no more aluminum. Like, it's not technically perfect, but it's a lot more elegant than 6 separate furnaces. I guess who defines what elegance is? In a way, this is elegant. In a way, this is elegante. But yeah, let's get that all on the right side, and then coal dust will go on the other side, and then that'll pass by all the buildings. That. Look, I didn't break hot air. Aren't you proud of me? And then now we need to filter all the different things. So you can be filtered to lead. And we'll use the other ones as an inspiration. You know what? Is this... Okay, I guess filters work that way. Was it... Which one was it that I was complaining about? Yeah, that's what it was. It doesn't open the right window of the recipe you were already in. It opens the last one you had open. And I don't know if this is a preference thing, or if like, for me that seems non-intuitive. Like, that's the opposite of what I think I want. I could be wrong, and there's other reasons why the other way would be annoying. I haven't fully thought it out. But these ones are opening the menu that they come from, which is the behavior I do want. Anyway, what do we need? We need zinc, so iron, copper. Let's just start with those. And where are those? Ah, here. Iron, copper, lead. Or let's do this order. Aluminum, zinc, lead. Aluminum. I'll find it. Where's the ore in all of this, though? The ore isn't here. Is there a list of the ores somewhere else? Oh, yeah, all the ores are at the bottom. Aluminum, zinc, lead. And then we need iron oxide, which is in here. No? Yeah. Okay. And then all of those things go into a warehouse. Which will probably take... I don't even know. I almost want to calculate how many hours would that take to fill up. I'd probably use a shed even, it's going to take so long to fill up. Maybe not. I'll do that. Getting everything packed in tight here. I mean, I'll put an alarm. I'm pretty sure I don't need it. Oh, shoot. How do we put an alarm? I guess, you know, there is a way to do this. It won't alarm until things are totally backed up, but it's easier than doing the thing with the combinator because we can't just look at empty slots easily. So instead we have to do if actually, there's really no easy way to do this. I guess the only way we can do it is this. Output priority right, and then we measure anything on this belt. Show alert. Here's a little trash can icon. No volume. So yeah, that should work. Now we could have something weird if like all of these output plates at the wrong time. So let me make this one a little faster. Okay, now we need to get all the wrong ores out of the ones from where they're supposed to be. Oh man, I just realized this is not gonna work either. I don't know why I thought this would work. How dumb am I? We need... Ugh, we need splitters? We're gonna have to do it this way. All that hard work. Yeah, because the way things are on the belt, that was never gonna work. That was never gonna work. All right. Let's try again. Switch you over. The ash still needs to be gotten rid of the same way. And then we do need to do coal dust. guess we'll get rid of the oxide first. Okay. Alright, the oxide will be there. And then this will be iron, and then this one will be oxide, which we'll grab from there. Wow, this is pyanodon's for you. This is the true Zen Garden experience. Who thought we were going to be spending so long working on this? Something that is so inconsequential. I mean, it's not, I guess it's not totally inconsequential because we do need to deal with all this ash. But it's still kind of funny. Alright, and then I am gonna do this sort of situation, which means we just need to get the coal dust needs to be one-sided on the close side, which it already is, so that's perfect. So then this will have the coal dust and all the metals, and then nothing else, yeah. Okay. So now the metals are in... Yeah, I mean, we can just filter coal dust to the right. Coal dust. And then this comes over to here. And now... let's get rid of bits that I collected. Now it should be cooking, quite literally. There we go. And then we've got some excess coal dust, which now I have no room for a caravanserai. Man. Where do I put you? Doesn't really matter. I can just put it over here, I guess. It feels weird to have it so far away when it's right here. But there's not really a good spot. I mean, I could use more undergrounds. And maybe put it right there. Something like this. I think we got that right. And then this could be shifted over. Can go that way, and then I can fit one in here, right? Just barely. Wow. Okay, well this has been fun. Let's do this again sometime. It had to happen at some point. All right, now we need our caravan and the other outpost, and then we're gonna go. Yikes. Okay, and those were backed up because they had just input the full amount, but they'll get unbacked up soon here. Although that ash is going to build up. Okay, let's go find where we have our caravan. Caravan map tag. I don't know what that is, but that's not what I meant to search for. I wanted to search for the actual caravan. Alright, there you are. I was right next to it. Okay. And then the last thing to do is plop down. We'll grab a couple brains on the way. And then we'll plop down the outpost by the coal dust. I'm not sure if I love doing it this way rather than putting it on the train network, but this is a way to put it on the train network, right? Like, we're accomplishing the same overall task. All right, this forest needs to die. All right, someday we'll make proper limestone roads. I guess that day's not today. And then, am I doing anything with my excess coal dust? I don't think I am. Which means now we're probably gonna have too much of it, which is kind of hilarious. This whole coal dust thing kind of got out of hand, and it's funny because I built this primarily to make coal dust, and now I'm like, oh god, we're gonna have too much. But yeah, that's okay. We never made a way to void coal, did we? No, we hadn't worked on that yet, so that's fine. It'll just be a byproduct. And over here, it's also a byproduct. And so that should mean that this provider station actually needs to be on... 1 and 2. Now, I'm still confused on why these logistics groups aren't working. If anyone knows anything about this... Oh wow, now I can't even click the X? That's super bugged. Uh-oh. Hello? We broke the game. That's bad. That's really bad. Well, that is a problem, isn't it? Literally just stuck on my screen. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and load the game. Hopefully it kills it. Uh-oh. Oh my gosh. This is a glitch that persists through a save? When was my last autosave? Okay, it was 51 seconds ago. That's... uh-oh. Wait, what? Okay. I don't want to go 6 minutes ago, though. I've never in all my years encountered a window that can't be closed like this. I don't know whose fault it is. It's probably a mixture. Or it's just the cybernetic constant combinator's fault. Okay. Okay. Wow. Well, I will be reporting this to the mod author. Yeah, it won't. I mean, that's just straight up broken my game at this point. Because now I can't get rid of this window, but I can't seem to like add a new one to restart it and then escape out of that one. Like this just straight up, I mean, it might as well. It's actually worse than crashing my game, you know, because it like didn't crash my game and let me keep playing, but then it didn't work. Okay, so guess we are happy that things autosave, but lost a couple minutes of progress there. Oh man, I still hadn't moved this. Add. Alright. Wait, this doesn't look right. Oh, I had the splitter up there. Where is coal dust in this list? I should probably know where it is. We're gonna need it. Okay. Alright, so there's that. Then we went and got a caravan. Then we went and got some brains. Might as well drop them already. Oh, I already have some jerky in my inventory. Lucky. So that's already done. Do. Run over here. Alright, I'm gonna get rid of these rocks, and then we shall get rid of some trees again. Or just ignore the trees, I guess. Okay, caravan outpost. Fill that bad boy up. And then now we need to go grab our caravan. Over here. You're going to... fill cargo. Then you're gonna go grab some brains. Then you're gonna go empty cargo. That's it. Do your thing. And because we're waiting for full and empty, then we should be good to go on those fronts. So he won't be wasting food. Okay, cool. So that's more coal dust now. And we've dealt with Ash Mountain quite a bit better. We still have some ash coming in here, but that's filling up way slower. You can see that ash supply is like not all that much. So that's nowhere near as scary. And I can just divert that to go get sorted if we wanted to. And we've got a good few million ash for when we start using ash in large numbers. Which is still not going to be for a while, but eventually I'm sure it'll be a thing. Now this shouldn't have ash in it. Oh, right. Ash is coming off of... Right. Well, I'm fine with it. It stacks to 1,000. Who cares? That's the short answer. And the long answer is we could always reroute the ash back to this belt again and just have it keep cycling. Because we're getting ash from burning the coal dust. I dealt with the ash that comes from this, but not the ash that comes from burning coal dust. All right, we're good. Cool. Well, I think we'll have to call it an episode there. So as always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next episode.